Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Arctic Food Equipment. When I say the word Jalili, what do you think of? Those of you in the 417, I know exactly what you think of. You think of great food and great restaurants, and I'm in one of them right now. I'm sitting across from Mike Jalili at Flame in downtown Springfield. You're a busy guy, Mike Jalili. Thank you for taking time to talk to me today.
Of course. Actually, I'm not that busy. You know what? I got so many amazing managers and amazing staff. They do all the work, and I just kind of enjoy it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because you've been around this town for a long time. You were not born here, correct? You were, and I'm eager to hear how you wound up in Springfield, Missouri. Tell me a little bit about how you got here.
Okay, so you want me to get into it?
Sure, please.
All right. So my brother and I, Billy, we are not from this country. We were born in Persia. I say Persia because we don't say Iran anymore. It's actually Iran, but we say Persia because our father was a high-ranked officer for the Iranian Air Force, and so he worked for the Shah of Iran. And at that time, in 1978, the Shah of Iran was overthrown by these. I better be careful what I say, huh? I still have family there, but I don't know if I'll ever go back. I mean, I do want to go back so bad. It's such a beautiful country. So it got overthrown by these mullahs, taking over the religious fanatics. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in God and I love God. And they took over, and then my father became part of the execution list. So he had to flee the country. And so many of him and his friends flew the country. So my father's job was, he was the head of the accountant of the Iranian Air Force. So he was the one that actually he trained in the United States. He came to the United States. And at that time, Persia was an ally of United States. So he came to America. He trained over here. He went to Oklahoma. He went to Colorado. He trained here. And then he went back. He was the head of the accountant of the Iranian Air Force. He was responsible for signing all the checks of all the equipment, like the jets and anything for the Air Force. He was responsible to sign the checks for all of that. He used one pen. He gave that pen to me. So I still have that pen, which is kind of cool, huh?
That is wild. Yeah. I'd love to see that. I remember the whole Shah of Iran thing vaguely. I really do. Yeah. But anyway, so he had to flee the country. You all did.
Right. So, I mean, this is obviously it's not a political podcast, so we're gonna just anyway. Don't get me into that.
Listen, I would rather talk food any day, all day than politics. I never want to talk politics. I get it.
Okay, so anyway, so my father fled the country, and as a young boy, we were sent abroad to study. So we went to boarding schools in England. And then came to United States and went to boarding schools in United States. And then revolution happened. Then I never went back. None of my brothers went back. And then so I lived in New York for about 7 years. And then my brother wanted to move to Midwest, which was Oklahoma, with his ex-wife and to open up a restaurant. And he did. Called me up. Said, hey, you want to go into business with me? Let's open up more restaurants. And here in Oklahoma, Baldersville, Oklahoma, small town, like 30,000. I lived in New York, and I went and visited. I said, Billy, there's no way. I'm not moving to Oklahoma.
Oh, it's just like New York City. Come on.
No, yeah, right? So anyway, I visited, and he called me every day. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm not getting anywhere in New York. I'm just an employee of, I was a bartender at that time. If I want to, do something for my life. And I was not exactly, I went to college. I mean, I'll be honest, I went to college. I was never good in school. I did drugs. I was kind of, wasn't going anywhere. I need to change my life. So it was a step for me to change my life, and I did. And I decided that, you know what, I'm not very smart, but I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work very hard every day, and hoping that by working hard, I'm going to get somewhere. And so bad boy, bad things, out of college, in college. And then I came to Oklahoma. We opened restaurants, and I'm trying to become a good person, and so we opened up more restaurants. And then there was this guy, what was his name? I forget his name. Greg Oliver. He was working for a company that is now PFG, but it used to be Lady Baltimore. He said to me, Mike, you need to go to Springfield and check it out and open up something over there. So Billy and I drove up here, drove around, and I think at that time, economy wasn't that great. So we came up here and said, wow, this town is kind of like energy. It's booming. It's doing great. The energy is so good. We said, let's do something. So we did.
This was in the 90s sometime, I'm guessing?
Yeah, early 90s is when we opened up, believe it or not. Do you know what it was?
Bijan's?
No.
What? You had one before that? I didn't know that.
Not a restaurant. So we didn't come up here to open up restaurants. We came up here to open up a nightclub, which was called at that time Faces. Then we turned Faces. Business went down. We turned Faces to Midnight Rodeo.
Which exists to this day. In the same location?
No, different location. It was actually on Campbell, in that shopping center where Walmart Supercenter is right now, south of Campbell. That's where it was in the corner. It was Midnight Rodeo. And then so we got kicked out of there by Walmart, Mass Walmart, So we got kicked out, and we went to this where it is right now on, the Glenstones. Anyway, so we opened that up. And then do you remember what was next after that?
I got to go with Bijan's again. Am I wrong?
No, you're probably too young to remember.
There's not a lot young about me, but I wasn't here. I didn't get here until 97. And it runs in my mind Bijan's was there in 97. I could be wrong.
Bijan's was here in 97. So was our second business at that time, 97. It was called Yucatan Beach Club. Do you remember it? It was a night.
No.
It was a dance club. It was a nightclub. It's where the Ozark Fitness Center, next to it on Battlefield. Remember that? Anyway, so it was there. That was our second location. Then Bijan's, we came to Bijan's. The building became available, and we do have restaurant experience. And the guy that owned the building wanted to lease it to us. Said, "Oh, you guys don't know anything about restaurants." No, we do a little bit. Or we do a lot. So anyway, there was so many people interested, and then what we offered, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do. He loved it, so that's when Bijan started. That's how we really started. Then Bijan's, then it was Flame Steakhouse, then it was Boogie and Zan. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, and we decided to get our nightclub business. And then, then we opened up Touch, then we turned Touch to Char. Then we turned it to, we opened up Black Sheep. And, funny thing about Black Sheep is that when we wanted to lease the building where Black Sheep downtown is, where Bijan's was originally, we owned that building. So the funny thing was that we wanted to lease it to someone else, and nobody would lease it from. So I said, Billy, let's just open up a burger joint right here. We do burgers, beer, shake, and then hopefully it'll pay the rent. Okay. So he said, oh, you think it's going to work? I said, well, I think so. Let's just give it a try. And I said, we even have enough scraps from Flame Steakhouse because, when you cut meat, you have scraps, you can grind them up, and then you make them to like something like meatballs or, burgers, or, you move that up. So I said, look, we got enough scraps from between at Flame that I think we can just use that meat to, do black sheep, and then it'll be profitable. And then he was kind of hesitant about it. And then I said, come on, let's do it. He said, all right, we'll do it. So we decided to do it. And then, after me sitting down and actually, funny thing was my wife and I went to Turks and Caicos on vacation. It was the best thing that happened because we were in Turks and Caicos. This is before Black Sheep opened. And then it was raining, pouring down for 2 days. So there was nothing you could do. No, it's good because what happened was that we sat like on our balcony overlooking the water and just drank margaritas and came up with a menu. I'm like, all day I sat down and just wrote menus and just, what do you think this? What do you think that? So, that's what I did. For 2 days, I did nothing but work on the menu. I mean, that wasn't just the only time, I did more. Anyway, so 2 days of, sitting down in front of the ocean, drinking margaritas and the rain, beautiful. And then coming up with the menu. And then, so we finally, after testing it and tasting it and blah blah blah, so we came up with the black sheep, and then we opened it up. I'm like, man, we're busy. We got busy. So
people here in the Ozarks we like us a good burger, and a liquored up milkshake never hurt anything.
No, I mean, people in the Ozarks like good food.
Yeah.
Good food, people on high, they know the difference between good food and bad food. And there are a lot of good food in this area. So we opened up Black Sheep, and then I thought that, the meat from Flame is going to take care of it. No, we had to get meat. So, anyway, that's how Black Sheep started. And then, so when we started it, the menu, what I use for buns, what I use for meat, what I use for, pickles, all of that totally changed from what I do today. And I'm going to tell you something, it's a lot easier to cook a steak than it is a burger.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
I very rarely would hear anybody say that. What do you mean exactly?
Steaks are, steaks, you season them, you put them in there and you watch it, you make sure it's done right. I mean, and with burgers, you got to make sure we smash them. We don't totally smash them, but we have them in pucks and we smash them, make sure you smash them right, make sure when you to flip them, when to cheese them, it's honestly, it's not, and then, with steaks, let's say at Flame or Char, you may do like, I don't know, with 2 broilers, you'll do like 100, 150 steaks, whatever, you cook other stuff too. But with burger from 11 a.m. till 10 p.m., I mean, can you imagine you cooking a burger every 5 minutes? So you got about 20, 30 patties on there. So anyway, it's not, cooking a burger, putting them together it's a lot harder than putting a steak together.
Well, and then when you do think about the different burgers in it, and then it's a great menu, lots of variety, but people are kind of picky. They want this, they want that, they want it how it's on the menu. But even then, you've got kind of an assembly line, I guess, of all the toppings and ingredients, and people have things they do and don't want. So I can see what you mean.
No, you're right. I mean, oh my gosh, are they picky? Yeah, I mean, every burger, someone says no onion, no pickle, no this, no that. With the entrees at Flame and Char, people don't really do that. With burgers, oh yeah, people are very picky with their burgers. Anyway, so, and then before you know it, 1 Black Sheep turned to 4 Black Sheep, and then, and then we changed touch to we wanted to open up another steakhouse. So we said, why go somewhere? And we almost did go somewhere that killed us. And, we kind of went, we got us in a bad financial situation. We were going to open up a steakhouse on Galloway. And that actually killed us. We fell behind in our bills. We fell behind in our taxes, paying taxes. We fell behind in we were so close to just going under because of that bad decision we made, bad financial decision. So that didn't happen. Now we took touch and turn it to a steakhouse, which is Char Steakhouse. And then, so our goal was, okay, we got to get out of this, this mess. So we did. We got out of it. We paid everything up. We paid all our taxes. You got to, people think, you can't pay your taxes. No, you got to pay your taxes. They'll come after you, Yeah. So we did. We got it all paid off and then got out of that. And now we got Char, Flame, and 4 Black Sheep and, 6 restaurants. I got great managers and great employees. I'm just blessed, and I cannot be thankful enough. I mean, when I look back, when I was out of high school and college, I was a mess. I could be, I went from being either homeless to, to what I have today, what I'm doing today. And I'm so thankful. I am really blessed. I can't believe, I thank God every day that, man, why did you do this for me? I was such a bad guy, such a bad boy, such a mess, And then why did you direct me to this life, to this great life? And I try to give back, and I do. I do so much for, I try to give back because I have been blessed. And I think, and now I'm in a position that I can help, I can provide. So we do, we do give back. And I'm just thankful for, everything and great city, great Springfield area for people that, for supporting us and, giving us what we have. But
well, I know the people around here really appreciate you. How many people do you employ?
Over 300, 350, I want to say. Yeah, about 300, 350. Yeah.
That's remarkable. And I did not know that about you. How would I know that about you? I didn't know you struggled before, but you came here and you ended up opening a couple of clubs and then that fantastic restaurant, Bijan, which thank goodness you still do the chicken Bijan. Yeah. You still have that at Char, I believe, on the menu, and it's just decadent and wonderful. But who did the cooking? Was it you and Billy? Or how did you get so good at this menu development? You must have always had a flair for culinary.
Well, Bijan's menu, when we started it, I give credit to a chef I had. And I was talking to someone yesterday and I just totally forgot his name. Man, he'll come to me and he really deserves a credit for that menu. And I'll learn from him. Clint McCann, that's what his name was. I hope he hears this because he's very talented. I learned so much from him and I learned from just cooking. You want to learn something, just get in there and do it and you'll learn so much, You want to know what the problem is, just get in there in the middle of the problem, see what the problem is and you'll find the solution. That's what I believe in now. So I cooked every day. Billy was expediting. That means you get the food out. He said, hey, your food is ready. John, your food is ready. And then our sister-in-law, Sarah, I wasn't married at that time. She was a hostess up front. So the three of us kind of was there every night, 6 nights a week. We're closed on Sundays. And I cooked. I was there every day. I would do prep. I would help to prep. And then I would cook at night. So I wanted to learn everything. And I had a passion for cooking. I had a passion for the kitchen. So I would be in the kitchen all the time. I said, I got to learn. I need to learn. I learned a lot. I did cook. I used to work in a Mexican restaurant in New York. I did cook a little bit there, and I learned some over there. And then we had another restaurant actually in Oklahoma, and I did a lot of cooking there. More of wasn't upscale like Bijan's was, And then so I learned a lot there. But I loved the kitchen. Something about the kitchen always took me. So I learned a lot, and I learned a lot from my chef. Man, he deserves to know his name out there, but it'll come to me anyway.
If you think of it, just let me know because I may or may not recognize the name. I don't know, but it was a fabulous menu, and it was a special place.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a lot downtown as I recall it. And that place was and beautiful on the inside. I mean, the food was great, but the decor was fantastic. And then you had the cigar bar upstairs too.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a jazz. You remember the jazz up front?
Mm-hmm.
We had the jazz up front, and an open kitchen, and with the smell of the garlic, and then us, the fire flaring, and and I had about 20%, 30% to do with the menu at the beginning, maybe even 5%. But as time went on, I had more with to do menu. But when we opened it, this guy he was all of it. He was the reason that place succeeded because of his menu.
Who was it that came up with the Andes lobster? Was that you?
No, that was me. That was later on, and I'm the one that came up with that. Yeah, you take a lobster and you dip it into Andes, like melted custard, not frozen, melted custard, like just and then you breaded it and fry it. And, oh man, it was so good. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, he's the one that came up with the menu, and that's when then that's how it started. That's how, and I'm still learning. I never went to culinary school, but my passion has always been the kitchen. I love the kitchen. I still love to cook. I still enjoy cooking. My wife doesn't let me cook at home, but she won't. You think she'll let me cook and create? No, she says I'm too messy. You make too much mess.
Does Casey cook?
She does. She's awesome. She's an amazing cook. She makes amazing food, and she won't let me cook. She says I just make too much mess. I mean, just food all over the floor, all over what do you call it, the oven, and the everything, just everywhere. Because she says, you think you're still in the restaurant cooking? You just flip things because you're trying to get food out. This is home. You can't do that. So anyway. But yeah, so that's that's how we ended up where we are today, and with great city, great energy. The thing about Springfield, I remember, and this is something that I think Springfield needs to know, that if the whole country is struggling, there's something about Springfield. It's always it always has good energy. People are still going out. People are still spending money. People are still, whatever it is about Springfield, the economy is always better here than anywhere else. I read things like restaurant business is down here, restaurant business is down over there. But in Springfield, it's just, if you just serve good food and take care of your guests and we believe in going above and beyond for our guests. And, so you do that, they'll support you. People love food around here. Did you know that I think Springfield is the market for chain restaurants test market?
I have heard that over the years, that this part of the country where we are is a very, very good test market for different restaurants and chains. I have heard that.
Yeah, it is. So a lot of, chains come in, but don't go to chain restaurants, although some of them are really good. Support your local restaurants, guys. So anyway, not just mine, everyone's. So yeah, that's how, that's our life in Springfield. Great city, love it.
That's how it all got started. Well, we're sitting in Flame, so let's talk about Flame for a little bit. You have this, you do these dry aged steaks, and you have this machine downstairs. I don't know what you call that, I'll be honest, where the meat dries. Tell me, how did you get into that whole process? And what does it do for the steak? What is it that you loved about it?
Okay, so dry aging a steak, you can't dry age steaks and meat in your refrigerator. It goes bad before it dry ages. So you have to be careful. The bacteria that can cause on that can, make you sick. You can't do that. It becomes bad meat. So if you, let's say, put that meat in your refrigerator, dry age it, let's say, and then 2 weeks later you take it out and you smell it, it's going to stink. That means it's bad. But ours, it looks bad. It looks bad, but it doesn't smell bad. So here's the process. So when we get our steak, first of all, we don't just go and buy meat, whatever is cheapest, or look, I need ribeye, I need strip, I need fillet. Hey, send me the cheapest. No. I visited the plants. I've visited so many places, and then make sure for safety reasons, number one. Number two, what do you do to make sure that the meat is good? It's sometimes not possible 100% to have amazing steaks. There's going to be times where you guys come to our restaurant, any restaurant you go to, and the steak might not be like, ooh, something wrong with this steak. Tell the manager immediately so they can get you a good one. So, there are different levels of steaks you buy. Anyway, so we buy upper choice and sterling silver upper choice, and then we also buy. We do have prime grade, and which is from a Downing, Missouri, and then we buy this Miyazaki Japanese Wagyu, which is won the best steak 15 years in a row in Japan, better than any Kobe. That means it makes it the best steak in the world. We buy that. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so we dry age certain steaks, not all of them. Strip, ribeye, short loin. Short loin consists of like bone-in strip, T-bone, and the porterhouse. Okay, it's all on one loin. All comes on one. So we get that, and we require it to be wet aged up to 28 days. So the people that we buy it, they have an area for us. They keep our meat to make sure that it does wet age to a certain time. And that certain time, which is between 21 to 28 days. So when we receive it, the butcher checks it, makes sure that the wet age on it is proper date. Now, what does wet age means? That means the meat is wrapped in plastic with its own juice, which is blood, okay? So it requires that. If it doesn't, then your meat will taste. You can't just kill a cow and cut into it and cook it and eat it. It will not taste the same. It has to have that wet age, 21 to 28 wet days. So after we do that, then we take the plastic off. Then we'll put them in a room which is about freezing. You want to keep it around 33 to 37 degrees. Cold. That doesn't freeze. And then with 50% humidity. You put them in there, but they cannot be on top of each other. They can't be touching each other. They have to have room where there is air floating around it. So it will sit in there, and we like at Flame, not at Char, we put some Himalayan salt in there, which helps to add more flavor to the meat. And then with 50% humidity in that room. Okay, so that has to be, and of course, you got to make sure that room is clean. But the problem with it, you can't clean that room with bleach or chemicals. You have to clean it with, naturally. So it has to be kept clean all the time, because then what happens, you dry age that for about 21 to 28 days dry. You can go longer. We've dry aged steaks for like 70 days, 60, 70 days. So think about it. If you did this at home and you kept it in its wet age for 21 days in your refrigerator, then took it out and then dry aged it for like 45 days, which is over a month, it's gonna stink up your whole house because that is not dry age. Okay, so you dry age it, then there's tags on there. The butcher makes sure that it's got 21 days minimum dry age, up to 28 days. They take it out. Then what happens in this process? You have lost about 30% of that meat. Dry aging shrinks it. So that's why dry aged steaks are a little bit more expensive, because we lose about 30, 35% of it. Then you got to trim it. It looks like mold. Black mold around it. That's what it looks like. But you can't eat that mold. You got to trim that, cut it up, and then you cut them into it. But you got to remember that you're not going to get that bloody steak. We have so many people complain that, hey, my steak doesn't have any blood in it. Well, how do you tell a guest, you're wrong? Because dry aging it actually takes out the blood. It dry ages it. It changes the color of it a little bit. And so And then when you cook it, let's say mid-rare, it may look like medium, honestly, sometimes, because the blood is not that bright red color. And we have that problem a lot. People send their steaks back. They say it's overcooked, but it's not. Most of the time, sometimes it is. Most of the time, it's not. Anyway, so then you take that steak, and then the butcher cuts them, trims it, cuts it, and then what we do, we have these really hot broilers. They go up to, I say 1,500 degrees, but they don't. 1,500 degrees, it'd be really hot. I mean, really hot. But we say 1,500 degrees, that's what we say, but it's not that much. It's less than that. So then we season it in our own seasoning, and then we cook them in the broiler. And then when it comes out, then you let it sit for a few minutes. You're hoping to let it sit for about 5 minutes before you take it to the table. All of this is timing. And then we finish it with our own herb and sage butter on top, and that becomes your, dry aged steak. So you have to have marbling to dry age steaks. You can't dry age filet. You might be able to do it for 7 days, but you can't go more than that. I mean, if you go too long, it becomes like a jello. So you don't dry age filet. Wet age, absolutely. And you can't dry age filet. So KC strip, ribeye, short loin, like I said, the porterhouse and the T-bone and, all of that you can dry age. You can't really dry age like sirloin because it's too lean. But here's a good advice. If you want a good sirloin, which I love sirloin, we don't have it on our menu, but if you want a good sirloin, then make sure it's got 45 days wet age on it, and it will be nice and lean. Because if it doesn't have a lot of wet age on it, it's going to be a little bit tough and chewy on you.
So that will make it tender.
That will make it tender. So, and I'll tell you what, Texas Roadhouse, actually, and I think they do an amazing job. Texas Roadhouse, I think for what they do, for what they serve, it's really delicious. It's really good. And they do have a sirloin, and there it is wet age for 45 days, and you bite into it. It's really good. So, that's just a little secret. And, my favorite cut of meat is none of these. It's my favorite cut of steak. If you ask me what I would like, is a hanger steak. I don't have it on my menu. The French eat it a lot. And one time I remember at Chief's Tailgates, I go up there with Andy's Frozen Custard. He's a good friend of mine. He bought this hanger steak from somewhere in Kansas City from a butcher, and then I tried it. I said, Andy, this is probably the best steak I have ever had. It was unbelievable. So if you find a hanger steak, it's so good. It can be a little bit chewy sometimes, but the flavor of it is unbelievable. It's so good.
One thing every restaurant owner knows is that you can't run a restaurant without ice. Hi, this is Nathan with Arctic Food Equipment. Now is the time to schedule your seasonal preventative maintenance for all of your equipment and HVAC systems. Whether it's a stove, refrigerator, or ice machine, they all break down at the worst possible times. And believe me, you don't want to be out of ice with a packed house. At Arctic Food Equipment, we specialize in finding problems before they occur, saving you downtime and money, plus the stress of dealing with the problem. Call us at Arctic Food Equipment today.
At Arctic Food Equipment, your success is our business always.
What is your guilty pleasure? You say you like Texas Roadhouse, but is there something you like fast food wise, or something that you just is kind of your go-to comfort food outside of here?
Yeah. The thing is that at home, when I get home, I try to eat healthy as much as I can. So what I do is, when you're in a restaurant business, it's so easy to eat whatever you want. You're black sheep. The fries are staring at you. The frozen custard is staring at you. The burgers are staring at you. Then I come to, the restaurant, Flame and Char. Everything. Just whatever you want, oysters and shrimp, and the steaks and whatever. It's all staring at you like, eat me. And, it's so easy to just, eat a lot. So what I try to do, unless I'm tasting, I have to taste a lot during the day, because I go to restaurant. I've got to make sure they're cooking the fries crispy, hot, black sheep, or I do line checks. Line check is you go and taste the mashed potatoes, you taste the sauce, some of the sauces, the soups and everything, make sure it's done right. I do a lot of that. Other than that, I try to eat just vegetables and fruit all day, and then I'll have a decent meal at night. And then when I get home, we usually eat at home a lot. And I love to be home with my family, my wife, our kids, and our 2 baby puppies. And I just like, it's more fun. So I sometimes when I get home, if I get home late, I'll cook 2-3 eggs and I just eat that with, a couple of pieces of bread and some salad or something. But if I had to just say, Mike, you know what, just go and eat whatever you want. Man, I love a good pizza, and I love Taco Bell. Hey, I even don't mind a Big Mac, or just go through any fast food drive-through. I love junk food. So if you say to me, Mike, would you eat the $300, I think it's like $250, $275 Miyazaki Wagyu steak, would you rather eat that or a good hot dog from Sonic next door to Char? I would take the hot dog any day. If you say to me, Mike, would you eat a lobster? Beautiful, perfect lobster, like a good, South African, which is one of the best lobsters, South African cold water. You want to eat cold water lobster, by the way, not warm water. Warm water does not taste good. You want to eat cold water lobster. They're more expensive. That's what we serve, but they're definitely much better, tastier, more cleaner tasting. Anyway, would you rather eat a good lobster, Mike, with dip it into butter, or crab legs, king crab legs? We have all those. Dip it into butter and eat that? Or would you want to eat, or what else? I said, I will take Taco Bell. I would take a hot dog. I would take a Big Mac, potato chips and, Doritos any day over, like, even the food in a gas station. I'll take that any day over any of that.
Interesting to hear you say that, but you're around this all the time. You can have this when you want. And I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with a good hot dog. You say you're friends with Andy Coons from Andy's Frozen Custard. Do you have an Andy's Frozen Custard flavor go-to that you like?
I try not to eat that. Oh man, that's hard. That's a hard question. You know that. I mean, when you go through drive-through Andy's, it's like 5 things you want to get. I mean, it just depends. And I tell my wife, I say, you just get something and I'll take a bite. She says, no, you're going to eat all of it. You're going to eat half of it. You're just doing that so you don't feel guilty getting it. Oh man, something with chocolate, not chocolate frozen custard, vanilla with something with like hot fudge, or what is that brownie? What is that called?
The brownie jackhammer.
Yeah,
the James Brown, funky jackhammer, whatever. Yeah,
that, or you just can't go wrong with Andy's. And what I love about Andy is a good friend of mine. He cares about quality. He'll spend more money and make sure that he has quality than try to cut money and not have quality. He's big on quality. That's why he's so successful, does so well, and I believe in that too. But man, that's a tough question. You can't go wrong with anything with Andy's. His frozen custard is so good. You just eat the vanilla frozen custard by itself. It's so good. Oh my gosh. I try not to eat it. I try to be healthy as much as I can, but it's hard not to.
You're very proud of your seafood here. You talked about your crab legs and your lobster. You got mussels on the menu. When I have friends visit from out of town or out of state, they always come here and they're always delighted. And how often do you get seafood every single day?
How long? What? I'm sorry.
Do you get seafood fresh every single day?
No, we don't. We get it twice a week, actually.
Oh, gotcha.
We get it twice a week, fresh, and so not everything is fresh, and it's not possible. For example, lobster is not fresh. You can't get fresh lobster unless it's like a live lobster. Crab legs. You cannot go anywhere unless you go on a boat and then, they catch it and eat it right there. That's not fresh. Shrimp. We can't get fresh shrimp. And I've had fresh shrimp compared to frozen. There is a huge difference in flavor. It really is a lot better. But everything else is fresh, like the salmon is fresh, the sea bass is fresh, the mussels, of course, they're fresh. What else? I'm trying to think on our menu. Tuna is definitely fresh. So, yeah, All of those they're all fresh, but other stuff, they're not fresh. So.
But it's very, very good when it gets here because those folks know how to get it here, where it'll be just exactly like you want it.
Well, they're cold, fresh, frozen. What that means is that they freeze them immediately on the boat. So they catch them and freeze them right there. So that makes a huge difference in the flavor than taking it off the boat and freezing them. So we do have a calamari that is actually, they call them fresh calamaris, and if you ever taste my calamari, it will melt in your mouth. If they're chewy, that means they're either overcooked or they're frozen. So if and you can't overcook the calamari. I know you want it crispy, real crispy sometimes, but if you get it too crispy, then it's got to be chewy, and you don't want the calamari. So the calamari has got to be a little bit of crispiness, and it's got to be, it's got to melt in your mouth. Oh, that does sound good right now.
And you still think cooking a burger is more complicated than the things you cook here at Flame? That amazes me.
It really is. I think so. I think I'm still learning. We're still trying to make better burgers, and and with steaks, I don't think I'm looking for a better steak than sterling silver or what we're buying. And you have so many people come to you, and one thing to know about is that you have so many people come to you with steaks. Hey, please try my steak. Please try my steak. Please try my steak. And we try them a lot of times. It's okay. Or they're not consistent. Consistency is huge. And biggest thing, when you talk about Wagyu, there is Wagyu and there is Wagyu. They're not equal. Just the name Wagyu doesn't mean that you are getting, amazing. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I had bad experience with Wagyu. I paid a lot of money for it, and it was just okay. Well, but that's because they didn't serve you a good Wagyu. Just the name Wagyu, and someone probably said, hey, this is Wagyu, buy it for whatever, $60, $70, and then you're going to love it. And you're like, oh, that wasn't worth it. It's got to have marbling on it. A lot of marbling. And like the one we have, the Miyazaki Wagyu, very expensive. We pay, I think, about like almost $100 a pound for it. Very expensive. But when you look at it, it's all white from the marbling. So a lot of people look at it and say, oh man, I don't want to eat that. It's got too much fat. It's not fat. It's called marbling, and it's actually incredibly good for you. You are better. It has more of that, what is that called? What is that? Fatty, what is that called?
Were you going to say amino? The fat, that what they call fatty fish, and they say it's very healthy for you.
What is that? A fatty?
I forget too. My daughter's in PA school. I should ask her that. I don't remember what it is, but the healthy fats. The
healthy fats, really good for you. It'll come to me. You know how wild salmon is actually really good for you because it's got that something. Why do I forget? I should know. Anyway, so. That has more
omega-3.
Omega-3, thank you. A good Wagyu with a lot of marbling has more omega-3 than a wild salmon. That's how good it is for you. It's incredibly good for you.
I had no idea. The things you learn when you come and talk to the restaurateur. You mentioned sterling silver. I've seen you many times at the restaurant show in Chicago, and I've met with the folks at Sterling Silver. Very impressive, their products, and you've been with them for a long time.
I have been. They've been amazing. And I've tried a lot of other steaks. They're more consistent. They put out quality product, and I pay more for it. I can switch to different companies and pay less, make more money, but you can't cheat a guest. Whenever something happens, what should I go and tell the guest? I tell the truth. This is what you tell them, but tell the truth, and then tell them a solution for it. I apologize. We messed up. We did this. This is why we messed up. But let me please fix it for you. Blah, 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 blah. You can't, you just, Sterling Silver has been very consistent. Talking about the food show, you were there, and you remember we met up there?
Oh, yeah. And I remember a group of us went out to dinner one night.
Yeah.
We went to that Greek place. Remember that?
Yeah. So remember at the show, which you know how huge and how big it is, right?
It's my happy place, yeah.
Me too. I love it. It's probably favorite trip because I get to work and play at the same time, you know, because you're in heaven. You're in it's about what, 4 or 5 football fields?
Oh, I think it's 11 football fields.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 11 football fields. I have a podcast that I did with them at the 2024 restaurant show. You should listen to that episode because she tells you all about that. But I've seen you there many times, and I admire that about you because I'll see you, Casey, Billy, and Sarah roaming the floors, checking out what the trends are, what the flavors are, and because you want to be up on what's going on, what people want.
Right, correct. So, and then it's huge. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days of it. If you go there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and walk as fast as you can, you still don't cover everything. That's how big it is. It's actually the number one show, the number one event in Chicago. That's how big it is. So you can walk up to, you know that. So you can walk up to get anything. You can get steaks, and then you got these Italians come up, they show off their ovens, and they make those pizzas to die for. Oh my gosh, best pizza ever. And then you can get chocolate, ice cream, coffee, drinks. I mean, you name it. You can just walk up to anything and everything you can think of when it comes to world from all over the world and eat it. If you remember, there was only one place that had a line walking around, and it took you like 45 minutes to get the tasting of what they were serving. Do you remember what that was?
Is it Nathan's?
Yeah. Well, no, not Nathan's, but it was the other one. It was.
Oh, Vienna?
Yeah, Vienna. The hot dog.
Maybe it's just Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna hot dog, Vienna beef hot dog. They were serving hot dogs, the Chicago-style hot dogs, where the line went all the way around. So first year we went there, Casey and I, my wife, we looked at him and said, "Look at this line, Casey." And then I said, "I'm not waiting on a line for that long for a hot dog." So we said, "Forget it, we're not doing that." So we come back next day, and then same thing. Doesn't matter what time of the day it was, what day it was, line all the way around. Everybody's waiting to get a Vienna hot dog. I said, "Casey, maybe we should try it if it's this popular." She said, "Okay, let's do it." So we did. We waited on the line forever and got around. We got it. And oh my gosh, it was so good. That Chicago-style hot dog, it was one of the best things you eat. It was so good. Then every year we have to go on the line to get that Chicago-style hot dog from Vienna. So good.
They're smart because I don't know if they did this when you were in the line the last time, but as you're in the line, they bring you a bite of sausage, then they'll bring you a little bite of a hot dog, and then they'll bring you some of their peppers and their pickles.
Pickles, right.
So by the time you get to the hot dog, which is a full hot dog, and it's got all of the tomato and the celery salt and all of that. Oh, Mike, you're right. Here's the thing, though. Here's my pro tip. I got to say, nothing against Vienna. I'm partial to Nathan's. Don't eat the Nathan's and then go to the Vienna. Do one day and one the other day. I made that mistake last year. I ate 2 in a row. Oh, no. I was just almost done for the day. So that's just my pro tip for the show. But it is great, isn't it?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I would have done both actually in one day, and I wouldn't feel bad. Good for you. That's awesome. No, it's so good. I mean, and then if you remember the pizzas, the Italian pizzas, the crust, the sauce, a little bit of cheese on there. That's it. It was the best pizza you'll taste. It was so good. Oh my gosh.
It is remarkable, the things I've been able to try there that I probably never would have had otherwise. And I, you make a lot of friends while you're there too. A really good friend I've made at Nathan's. He's always up there turning those hot dogs. Ulysses. Say, I'll introduce you this year if you're going. He's a great guy. But I love meeting up with the same folks, the same purveyors, Will you be there this year?
Oh, every year. I go every year. We go every year. So our purveyor that we buy from, PFG Performance Group, they used to be called Reinhardt, they send us up there. It was part of the deal we made with them, so they kind of pick up the tab. And so why not, huh? So we go up there. Yeah, we go every year. It's so much fun. And then, then get into restaurants at night. You better have reservation. It's so busy, big with all these restaurateurs all going out to eat,
Well, and I'll never know how lucky I was to get invited. And I think it was Joe at Reinhardt. I ran into you and your family, and somebody said, hey, we're going to this Greek place, you want to go? And that was one of the funnest nights I've ever had in Chicago, just to be out with you guys and watch you look at a menu, order off the menu, and see what it is you like. And that was the first night I got to hang out with Casey. She's great.
Yeah, it was fun. I love that. It's coming up in May, actually. Are you going up there?
I'm planning to. Absolutely, yeah. I'll see you there. I want to see what you're looking for this time. Do you remember telling me, too, Mike, I ran into you a few years ago, and you told me, I'm working on a new concept for a restaurant. I'm going to call it Char. Don't tell anybody. And you told me where you were thinking of putting it. I never told a soul. I remember you telling me that, and that's what you were looking for. I think you hinted that you were looking, but you didn't let the cat out of the bag that you were looking to open a new restaurant. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it got to a point where what we do, my wife and I, you walk around one day and just walk around, have fun. But that would be our last day we do that. But usually we go up there because of something in our mind or concept or something that we need to improve on, to work on. So this year I am going up there for something else.
And that would be?
I can't tell you.
You can tell me anything. But I have a mic on, so maybe that's not the time to tell those secrets. Well, I will plan on seeing you there. And I've really enjoyed hearing your backstory and how you got here. And I look forward to more podcasts about your other restaurants and really get in depth about the food. But I wanted to go back to the beginning of this conversation when you said you liked to party when you were younger and you were down into not such a good path and you wanted to become a good person. You're a good person.
Thank you. You're being kind. I mean, it's just, I wasn't. And man, look back. And, it's just, that's why I have a really soft heart for homeless. And when I see homeless people downtown, I see somebody, what was it the other day, digging into trash. I said, why are you doing that? And just come inside, Black Sheep, and let me buy you burgers. And he said, I don't want to be a nuisance. And I said, you're not. You're a human. Come and sit down and eat. And then I said, you're welcome to come back anytime. I'll feed you. Do not go through the trash. And because that could have been me. I don't think, the big thing is we don't, when we're little or growing up and while I was smoking weed every day and when I was in college and I wasn't even going to classes and I was failing and, my father paid for it and I was just total failure. And while I was doing that crap, I could have become homeless. And, that could have been me. And somehow I changed my path and, and I am where I am today. So when we're growing up, we don't grow up saying, you know what, I want to become homeless one day. No, we don't. It's not a choice. It happens because of, mental disease or drugs or, addiction and so many. They didn't choose to become homeless because, man, that's what a great thing. I think I want to become homeless. It's not. So it's sad. And I have a soft heart for homeless. And I have a very soft heart for dogs and animals, and to a point that I feel guilty serving meat. But I am on the board with Rescue One, and oh my gosh, I don't know how they do that every day. The things they see every day, and it's so heartbreaking. What they see with dogs and what people do to animals. It's just, and I go there and my stomach I'm sick to my stomach for maybe when I go to their place for 30 minutes I'm there, and they're there every day. They see this every day, and they just, I'm like, how do you just do this with a sick stomach every day? You just want to go in the bathroom and throw up because you see all of this? Yeah. And, and they do it, they don't get paid to do it. Right. All of them, the rescue is all volunteer, all because the love they have. And, all my hats off to them because, I'm kind of a coward to go there for 30 minutes and then I can't take this. I mean, how many times do you see something on Facebook like on a dog being abused, and you just go through it quickly enough that you don't want to read it, you don't want to see it because but they deal with that every day.
Yeah, and God bless them for it, because people will find a box of puppies or something, and it just is so depressing. And people mistreat an animal. They'll mistreat anybody. I don't trust them. I just don't. And I know what you're saying. You made me think of something too, Mike. You fed people around the holidays for free. And you got a note from a woman, and you did not know who it was. It was a great big thank you. And I followed that little drama for a couple of days, and you finally figured out who this lady was. What was that like?
So you're right. It was awesome. On Christmas Day, we served free burgers downtown Black Sheep, and for anyone that is needy, not homeless but needy. So this lady came in and ate and left the most beautiful note. I mean, it's just handwritten, beautiful writing, and just beautiful notes. So no name, no return address, nothing. And so we're like, okay, we got to find this one. We did everything, put it on social media. I mean, it hit it everywhere. It hit it to todays.com. It made it to todays.com. It made it to Daily Mail out of United Kingdom.
Really? Yeah. I had no idea.
I had people emailing me and sending me letters from United Kingdom, love from London, UK, for what you do, and love from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, whatever. So it hit it all over there. It was kind of cool that it did, because we were trying to find this lady, and we still didn't find it. So finally, we get a phone call. My manager gets a phone call. I talked to Mike Jalili. I'm sorry, he's not here. Downtown Black Sheep, and they said, tell him that this is my number and my name is Pat, to call me, please. And they said, what is it regarding to? He'll know. That's all she said. So they texted me the message, and usually I forward it to the girl that helps me out, my assistant in the office at Char. I just, hey, see what's it regarding to, whatever it is. But I knew it was her. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call her myself. So I did. I called her, and yeah, it was her. So we talked forever, and then we met up, and and she just a couple of weeks ago, she had to put her dog down, and I helped her with Rescue One and to go there and help her out. Actually, to help her with the dog first. Then a week later, they had to put her down, so she went back, and then so I've been in touch with her every day, and I've been trying to help her out as much as I can. We've become friends. And so she finally said, okay, let me just write a letter. She's going to write a letter and thank everybody, because people from everywhere were just saying, who is this lady? Tell her I'll have lunch with her. And then she hasn't watched, she doesn't have, she said, I don't watch TV. I haven't had TV for 20 years, she said. And, she's a beautiful person, beautiful soul. Haven't had TV. I said, well, let me buy you a TV. She said, no. Then I'll be watching. I don't want to watch TV. And then she had 3 friends, and she lost all 3 of them, 2 to cancer and 1 in a car crash. She doesn't have any of her sisters. They all passed away. Her family's all gone. She's alone. She's lonely. And then so we've been friends. We've been talking. She actually texted me, and I need to text her back. And so she's a beautiful person. She just met my wife, and she comes to Black Sheep. I told her, hey, you know what? You come and eat anytime you want to on me. And, so it's a beautiful story. It's a nice story. And
well, that's probably why she came to begin with, because she was lonely, and it's Christmas Day, and you made it better for her.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people came that day. We had over 200 people come, and I don't expect it. Please, I don't expect people to say thank you for it. I don't expect for them to, you don't do that just to get something back from it. I don't. But she was, the only one that sent a letter. It was a beautiful letter. That just kind of, warming, touching, that really, wow, who is this mysterious, we call her the mysterious angel. So it was so cool. So we are friends now. We meet, and then we're gonna go out, and we'll probably have lunch or have dinner soon again. And so, yeah.
Well, another success story.
One thing I do want to say, if you don't mind, last thing, I am from Iran. I am from, we'd say Persia now. And Iranian people are great people in Iran. And they do not hate America. All the, can I say bad word?
Yeah, I don't care what you say. If they tell me to bleep it, I'll bleep it.
All the shit you hear on media or TV that's about Iran, the hate. The government is a different story, but the people love America. They love American people. If you went to Iran right now, they'll love you. They will love you. You say you're from America, they will love you. I'd say 90% of them will love you anywhere you go in Iran. They're good people. They love the Western life. They love, they want the Western life. But unfortunately, with the governments like this, is what the problem is. But the people, it's a beautiful country, and the people of Iran they love America. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, you would know, and I appreciate the perspective, as always. Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking to me. It's always good to see you.
We'll do it again.
Of course, anytime. I'd be happy to.
Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter, where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? Do you have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.